Okay, what's happening? Yeah, I think the Wi-Fi in the evening gives some trouble. If it gives too much of trouble, I'll switch over to my phone. Okay. Okay. Any questions or clarifications before we go ahead? Or everything is clear? All clear?
All clear, Swamiji.
Okay. Which chapter we are doing? The 5th chapter, right?
We have to start 6 chapters, Swamiji. Pranam.
Yeah. We completed the 5th chapter last time. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Swamiji.
Yeah. So we have to start the 6th one. Okay, we have to start the 6th chapter. The 6th chapter is called Dhyana Yoga. Okay, where some basic meditation is talked about. Okay, basic meditation is talked about. The need for meditation, etc., also is discussed, and more importantly, the meditator is discussed, because more than the meditation, the meditator is important. This will happen right through in anything for that matter. Yeah. Okay, if it goes out one more time, I'm shifting over to the 4th. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let us start the Dhyana Yoga. Now, in Dhyana Yoga, Krishna does not wait for a question from Arjuna. Okay? He does not wait for a question. He straight away starts the chapter. Okay? Straight away starts the chapter. Okay? He says here, Sri Bhagavanuvachah Anashrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha. Okay? Anashrita Karma Phalam. Anashrita Karma Phalam. Without depending on Karma Phalam. Without depending on it. You definitely want it. You are doing the karma to get the phalam only. You are not doing the karma not to get the phalam. But having gained some emotional independence from the karma phalam, with your attitudes of Ishwararpanam and Prasada Buddhi, such a person, he says, Karyam Karoti Yaha, who does what has to be done. Who does what has to be done. Such a person, he says, Can you all see me now?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Swamiji.
Okay, all of you can see me. This I shifted over to my phone since the other connection was giving too much of a problem. Okay. Now he says anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha. Without too much of emotional dependence on the karma phalam, the one who does what has to be done. That means what? Karma yoga buddhya ya karoti. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. He is both a sannyasi and a yogi. Okay? Nacha niragnir nacha kriyaha. Not the person who has given up the fire. Given up the fire meaning taken sannyasa. Because no more homa ityadi for your Vedic karma is not there for a sannyasi. And niragnihi cha akriyaha, who does not have any duties, etc. Now in this is a verse called Arthavada, where you are exaggerating, highlighting the importance of Karma Yoga over and above sannyasa. Because it's important to see this. Okay? Very important to see this, that it's always sannyasa that is Karma Yoga that is highlighted in the Gita. Why? Because sannyasa is optional, Karma Yoga is not. Karma Yoga is not optional. You can't decide whether to be a Karma Yogi or not. You can decide whether to be a sannyasi or not. Nobody can be a sannyasi unless he has lived a life of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is a preparation. Sannyasa is optional next step. Sannyasa, I mean as a lifestyle. That is why earlier he had said, okay, Sankyam cha yogam cha pratak balaha vadanti. Only the children, spiritual children, talk about sannyasa and Karma Yoga as different. If you follow one properly, you will get the result of both. Why? Because both are meant for moksha. One is to the exclusion of everything else, the other is to the inclusion of everything else. So it is literally speaking, Karma Yoga prepares you. Then you can decide whether you want to get on the fast track or not. So that choice is always open to you. But Karma Yoga is not open. Why? That is the only sadhana, really speaking, that is there in Vedanta. Some japa, dhyanam, etc. is there. But the main sadhana in Vedanta is Karma Yoga lifestyle. Because that is the one thing that you can do every waking minute. Every waking moment of your life, you can be a Karma Yogi. No other sadhana can be done like that. You can't do japa like that. You can't do dhyana like that. You can't do yaga like that. Let us say, yoga, asanas, pranayama is your sadhana, your discipline. How long will you do it in a day? 3-4 hours? More than that, it is difficult. How are you going to do more than 3-4 hours? You can't. Whereas Karma Yoga, Ishvara Arpanam, Prasada Buddhi. Ishvara Arpanam with respect to the karma, Prasada Buddhi with respect to the result, all my life, every waking moment. Today maid didn't come, Prasada. Today maid cooked beautifully, Prasada. Wi-Fi is not working properly, prasada. Array, connection is beautiful, no problems, prasada. Everything is prasada. What is the problem? The only thing that you can practice every waking moment of your life. In fact, a time will come when you are awareful, etc., about prasada buddhi, ishwararpana buddhi, you integrated it into your mind. You don't even have to think about it. It will become the natural first option in your life. Any action, ishwararpanam. Result, prasada. I don't want to call it default option. That's why I'm calling it first option. Okay. First thing you will do is that karma yoga buddhi. What else? Yeah, everything is there in that. Everything is included into that. Therefore, he says, "Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha," because in time, he will get the mindset of a sannyasi. Yeah, he'll get the mindset because he has fulfilled everything that has to be done has been done. Therefore, naturally, the mindset of a sannyasi will come into the person. That is why Krishna praises Karma Yoga so much. Krishna praises Karma Yoga so much. Okay. Okay. Then he gives another explanation for the whole thing. Yam sannyasam prahu yogam tadviddhi pandavaha nahi asanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. Okay. He says, Karma Yoga is what you do. Okay. When are you successful in Karma Yoga? With that, he is talking in the next verse. Yam sannyasam iti prahu. What you have understood as sannyasam. Yogam tam viddhi pandava. Understand that to be yoga also. Okay. Why? Nahi asanyastya sankalpaha. Without having grown out of your likes and dislikes, your desires, he says, na yogi bhavati kaschana. No one can say, I am a yogi, I am successful. Karma Yoga is what you are doing, okay? With the attitude, with the proper attitude you are doing. When are you successful and you can say, I am a yogi now? When your sankalpas, you have grown out of. When you have grown out of your sankalpas, grown out of your likes and dislikes, grown out of your ragadvesha, grown out of your ragadveshas, only then you are a yogi. And what is sannyasa? Same. What is sannyasa? You grew out of your ragadveshas. How can you be a sannyasi? Yeah. Therefore, a yogi is successful. Same thing as a sannyasi. Let me give you an example of this mindset, my teacher's old example. It's a beautiful example. Here was a young boy who used to love playing marbles. Okay. He used to love playing marbles. And a whole collection of marbles. He used to take part in competitive marbles where you can defeat other people and get their marbles. All that. We have played, some of us have played these games when you are young. And naturally in Bombay, where will you play marbles? Roadside. Where else is there place? Either in your building compound or roadside. And one day his father came back early from work. On the way back, he saw this kid playing marbles on the road, putting his and hitting and all that. His father was a bit concerned about hygiene and things like that. So when the boy came home, he said, this marble, not meant for you. You put your hand all over the place where people have walked and spat and everything. Now, stop playing marbles. No, obedient son. Okay? An obedient son. So he says, okay, Dad. Okay. So, he stops playing marbles. But he goes and watches the other people playing marbles. Why? There is a vicarious enjoyment. Like how all of us enjoy a cricket match. We can't play cricket, but we enjoy watching it. Similarly, this kid would watch. And when the other guy is aiming, his tongue is out. Okay? His tongue is out. After some time, he stopped going. Why? He's afraid of getting involved. So he calls his friend and distributes all the marbles also. What is he now? He's a tyagi, one who has given up. But the rasa is there inside. He has given it up just to obey his father, to oblige his father. That's a good boy. Okay. Then let us say this kid grows up, picks up a job, gets married, settles down, has children. They also get married and have children, everything. Then his grandson comes to him one day and says, "Grandpa, all my friends have gone out. Nobody to play with me. Please play marbles with me." What will he say? Then I remembered my father's word, "Son, you are not supposed to play marbles." Son, you have to be a bachelor boy, okay? No, it doesn't matter anymore now. It doesn't matter anymore. You'll play with the kid. After all, grandson. You're playing in the house. He's not worried, I will get involved. He is not worried about it. Play. Ki farak painda hai? What difference does it make? Why? As far as marbles are concerned, he is a sannyasi, marble sannyasi. Yogi cha, playing or not playing marbles does not disturb his mind. Are you getting it? Are you all getting what I am saying?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Swamiji.
Yes. But just imagine this same man, if he goes to somebody's house and he finds there are a lot of golden marbles around, then the whole thing will change. The whole thing will change. Why? Because he's sannyasi with respect to marbles, all right. So that is the mindset of a sannyasi. It doesn't matter. If it is there, not there, not there. It's okay, it's fine. That is the mindset that the Karma Yogi aspires to. And when he gets that mindset, Yogi Bhavati. Yogi iti uchyate. He is called a yogi. Sannyasi, same my answer. Yeah. They're fine, not they're fine. Chalo, theek hai. With everything in life. Because that's what a sannyasi's life trains you to. You're going for Bhiksha. Aaj Bhiksha nahi mila. Theek hai. Aaj Ekadashi manayega. Yeah, in this verse, Sankalpa means Ragadveshas. And the sannyasi mindset is more important than the physical sannyasa. You know, many people I have heard them saying, "Swamiji, I prefer mental sannyasa." What is mental sannyasa? There is no mental sannyasa, okay? And I always turn around and ask them. I said, if you have mental sannyasa, meaning by attitude you are a sannyasi, why are you afraid of physical sannyasa? Why are you afraid of physical sannyasa? If you are afraid, you are not a sannyasi. It's like years before I took the robes formally, my guru asked me. He called me, I think it was 83 or something. What are your plans? Swamiji, no plans. It began and ended with this knowledge, nothing else. What about the robes? Swamiji, if you want me to take it now, this minute I will take it. Oh, but you are the single son of your parents. I said, yes, Swami. No, then you wait for some time. Okay. It didn't matter. Taking the robes, not taking the robes didn't matter because here it was already there. Where I have seen people, Swamiji, when will you give me sannyasa? Swamiji, when will you give me sannyasa? And Swamiji will say, wait. Every year you go, Swamiji, when will you give me? You indicate to your Guru, you are ready. It is a Guru's decision. It's a Guru's decision. Yeah. You don't have to go and nag the Guru for sannyasa. That means you are hankering after the robes, you are hankering after that an image. An image. That is sometimes hasty sannyasa. You are taking sannyasa before you are fully ready. You will have to struggle a lot. Some of my juniors are like that. I have known them. And I have to really help them to grow from there. Yeah. That's because they have taken hasty sannyasa. It will work out for them. That is sure. It can work out. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle. They'll require a lot of help. Now, keeping that on what he has said in mind, he is introducing a very beautiful idea in the next verse. Okay, very, very beautiful idea. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karana muchyate yogarudasya tasyeva shama karana muchyate. For the Muni, who is an Arurukshu, one who is desirous of climbing the horse of yoga, Arurukshu. Okay. What should he be doing? Karma karana muchyate. He's got lots of likes and dislikes, but he wants to be a yogi or a sannyasi. Then what does he do? He has to do karma with the yoga buddhi, karma yoga. Therefore, karma karana muchyate. Karma becomes the means for him. Okay. Karma becomes the means for him. Therefore, Kuru karma tvam. Karma kuru. Prasada buddhya, Ishwararpana buddhya, karma kuru. Why? He is not a yogi or a sannyasi yet. He is desirous of mastering yoga. Arurukshu. Do that. Yoga rudasya tasyeva. The same person, one who is a yoga rudaha, he has mastered yoga. Then what should he be doing? Shamakarana muchyate. Quieten yourself. Don't do anything. Learn. Listen. That's all. Shamakarana muchyate. Quieten the chattering mind and be there. Ragadveshas are gone. Everything is gone. Therefore, be with yourself. Shamakarana muchyate. Are you all understanding this difference? Is this difference clear?
Yes, Swami.
Okay.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah, because I want to make sure that you all understand the difference. Okay?
No, Swamiji. Please explain it.
If there is not clear, please ask.
Sure, Swamiji.
No, Swamiji.
Clear or no?
Swamiji.
What is the doubt?
What is the difference?
The difference is one who has not yet mastered, not yet have the yoga buddhi, what should be his attitude? What should his lifestyle be? His should be a lifestyle of karma. Why? Because he still has to master yoga. Therefore, a lot of karma has to be done with the attitudes of prasada buddhi and ishwararpana buddhi. We think if we have that attitude and we are doing things, we are already yogis. No. No. Yogi is what Krishna defined in the previous verse. What has he said as yogi in the previous verse? Come on, I just told you all. Second verse, what is a yogi? Exactly, sannyasta sankalpa. Therefore, only when you get free from your ragadveshas can you really consider yourself a karma yogi. Otherwise, you are attempting to be that. You are trying to be that. You are living a life of karma yoga, accept it. It is like in medicine. When can you really be called a doctor? Doctors in this group, when can you be called a doctor? Only when you complete your MD, na? Really speaking. Isn't it true? Doctor in this group. When you get a doctorate, your MD, then you are called a doctor. But MBBS people also call themselves doctors. That is the difference. You are living a life of Karma Yoga means you are still on the way. You are still on the way. You are doing your MD. Then you are free from Ragadveshas, you have grown out of it. Like that marble sannyasi. Then you are a yogi. Yeah. Then you are a yogi, all right. Yeah. Therefore, Arurukshu. If you are desirous of mastering yoga, then you have to lead a lifestyle of action. Pursue things in life. Fulfill your Ragadveshas by tying it up with your priorities, etc. Fulfill them. Fulfill those Ragadveshas. Work keeping Karma Yoga in mind. Do that. Then once you are free from, let us say you have got there, you are free from Ragadveshas, everything you are reduced to mere preferences. Abhi kya karne ka hai? What should you do now? What do you think you should do? Huh? What should you? Be with yourself, learn. Learn. Quieten the mind and learn the truth. और क्या करने का है? शमक कारणम उच्यते. Then your lifestyle is one of shamaha. Now I will still go around chasing a lot of things. For what? If you have responsibilities, duties, that is still there. That's okay. A different thing. Otherwise, what are you running around like a headless chicken? Why are you running around like a headless chicken? Your priorities have been fulfilled. But somehow you are interested in so many things. So what? I am interested in a million things. If I was going to do everything I am interested in, I would never have become a Vedanta teacher. I am interested in 100 things. Interest in a thing is not your priorities. You remember all the thing I taught you all about priorities, second chapter itself. Vyavasayatmika, buddhi, etc. Yeah. Behind 100 desires, you will have half a dozen priorities. Fulfill them. Then go for the deeper underlying priority, the one of moksha. So your quietened mind, your mind is contemplative. With that contemplative mind, when you learn, it works like this. It doesn't take time. It doesn't take time. Before you know it, it is there with you. Before you know it, it's all clear. The difference clear now? Or is there still any doubts? There are doubts, please check. Clear now? Okay, good. Okay, when will I know I am a yoga rudaha? कुछ पैरामीटर रहना चाहिए ना, बेंचमार्किंग रहना चाहिए. When will I know I am a yoga rudaha? He gives that also here, okay, in the next verse. Yada hi na indriyartheshu na karmasu anushajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudaha tada uchyate. Yoga rudaha tada uchyate. That he is called a yoga rudaha. When? Yada hi indriyartheshu karmasu cha na anushajyate. Towards the objects of the sense organs, all the pleasurable things in the world, or with respect to karma and action, na anushajyate. You are not pulled. You are not pulled. Okay? No Anushanchati. Okay? One is not caught up in it. One is not fantasizing about those things, that the pleasurable things in the world. One is not plotting and planning to get those things. Okay? I will do like this, I will do like that, I will do like that. Nah, ho gaya. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi. All sankalpas given up. Ragadvesha, etc. given up. Okay? Yoga rudha tada uchyate. Then you know you are a roga rudha. Therefore, really speaking, now you can fulfill your priorities, but to be a real yoga rudha, thoda Vedanta chahiye. Okay? Without exposure to this knowledge, it won't happen. Okay? Because Karma Yoga Buddhi also you gain by coming to the Gita only, na? Before coming to the Gita, where do you know about Karma Yoga, etc.? Unless you have culturally picked it up. Okay? Yeah. Therefore, after having known Karma Yoga, and little exposure to Vedanta will become necessary. Otherwise, what will happen is new longings will pop up in your mind. New longings will pop up in your mind because the sense of finitude is there. When the sense of finitude is there, you don't know how to get rid of it. Therefore, it will express itself as some desire or the other. And if you have fulfilled your priorities, you will start getting romantic desires. What do I mean by romantic desires? Ganga kinare baith jayega. I'll spend some time in an ashram. If he is going to the ashram to learn, that's a beautiful thing. That can work very well. But this is romanticizing. I have known people. I have taken a nice flat Swamiji in Rishikesh, overlooking the Ganga. It's so beautiful. So in Bombay you had a flat overlooking the sea. There you have overlooking Ganga. Farak kya pada? It only shows you have a love for water. What other difference did it make? What other difference did it make? Like this, ideas will come up. I will go on a yatra. You know, Swamiji, I have been to, what is that place? Jwalamukhi 10 times. I have been to Badri Kedar 10 times. Okay, you have been there 10 times. What has happened to your mind after that? I want to go once more. Yeah, it's good to go to Badri Kedar, have darshan of the Lord at Badri and Kedarnath, all beautiful. There was a time when I used to take my students every year, one place or the other. Okay. One place or the other I used to take them. Some place or the other I would take them. Okay. Then most of the students had been, so I said enough. Maybe for the new students I should do that once in a way. Once this COVID problem is over, let me know if you all are interested. Okay, I'll do that. But those are all, it's nice once in a way to do that as a grace, as a blessing, so that you learn what to do in a yatra and how to grow with that, with the unexpectedness of the situations, etc. That's all fine. But without learning, nothing is going to happen. Okay? And don't, under any conditions, take this as theory and practice. This is another thing that I get a lot of people saying, Vedanta is theory and you have to practice it. What way are you going to practice it? Tell me. What way are you going to practice it? Your limitless awareness, practice. Practice it. Karma Yoga, at least with that buddhi, you can do something. You can do your duties. You can do your responsibilities. You can fulfill your desires with those attitudes. Therefore, you can say there is some practice. If I ask you to touch your toes or stand on your head, you can do some practice about it. But you are pure consciousness, what can you practice? It's just like saying you're a human being. Practice, you're a human being. Hey, I'm a human being. I'm a human being. Bas, ho gaya na? What practice is there? I have to recognize I'm a human being. And if I recognize I'm a human being, I'll behave as a human being. It's only when I forget I'm a human being I behave otherwise. So similarly, nothing. But Swamiji, is it possible in one lifetime? Is it possible in one lifetime? Yep. Look at what Krishna is saying here. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadaye atmeva hi atmanaha bandhuhu atmeva ripuratmanaha. Uddhared atmanatmanam urdhvam haret. Lift yourself by yourself. Okay? Lift. Okay. Lift yourself by yourself. Meaning, have a healthy self-esteem. If my teacher can do it, so can I. If my teacher can do it, so can I. But Swamiji, what are you talking? My teacher is a great man. True. True. But he was born an idiot, na? Swamiji, you're telling my teacher was born an idiot? Every teacher in the world was born an idiot. Ignorant, totally ignorant. You think he was born with this knowledge or what? No one was born with this knowledge. Everybody was born ignorant. If you are not ignorant, you are not going to be born. And everyone studied and got it. Therefore, you are in good company. Okay, you are in good company. Yeah, you are in good company. Yeah. So sometimes when you meet a good teacher, you will tend to look up to him, which is good. It's always good to look up a little bit to your teacher because then you can study easier. You know, that little Shraddha, etc. will come naturally. So you can study. That's a good thing. More than that, you put him in a pedestal and you put yourself down, that is not healthy. That's why I behave in certain manners that nobody will put me on a pedestal. My students may behave differently. You are students of Vedanta. Okay, I don't. That weighs very lightly on my shoulder. Yeah. Nobody will put me on a pedestal. Why? Because I behave like a normal person. People will see me going to the market, picking up vegetables and coming home. Swamiji, you are doing it yourself. Huh? If I have to run a house, I have to do it. No? Yes, more than vada pav, I enjoy bhaji pav. I think Dr. Sunita Savla has seen me having a bhaji pav outside her clinic. Yes, there you are. After that, will anyone put me on a pedestal? See, I can also tell them, jara thoda pack karke de do. And bring it home and eat it aram se when nobody can see me. I will not behave like that. My open self is very large. What you see is what you get. So there will always be some aspect of me that someone or the other can relate to and say, okay, if he can do it, I can also do it. And that is why I do that. I live a lifestyle like this so that others can see that if he can do it, I can do it. I want you all to be able to see that. People call me a great teacher after sitting in my Gita class. If you want to really see the greatness of my teaching without any false modesty, I will tell you, see me when I teach a Siddhi Grantha. Advaita Siddhi, Khanna Khanna Khadiya, Chitsukhi, etc., then you will know what teaching is. Yeah. Then you will know what teaching is. But this is good because this is bringing that light of awareness to completely fresh people. Like my teacher said once, teaching all those उधर माल उधर बहुत है, हाँ, और ये क्या कर रहा है, ये तो कमाल है. Okay. Because you are teaching, and it is necessary. That healthy self-esteem is necessary. Okay, I think my website is down for a couple of weeks. It will be down. Otherwise, I want you all to go to the website vedicwisdom.in, not vedicwisdomfestival.in, just vedicwisdom.in. There you will find 8 workshops dealing with self-esteem. Okay, I want you all to look at that. Okay, since we are on a lockdown, we can't meet. I can't do that workshop for you all. Otherwise, at some time, I could have done that workshop. Okay, I have borrowed some ideas or the structure from a writer called Nathaniel Branden. Okay, he has done some very pioneering work on the question of self-esteem. Okay, he talked about 6 pillars. I feel there is necessary for 2 more. So, because this question of self-esteem has come in, okay, let me briefly sum it up so that you will understand what it is. One is to live with self-awareness. This self-awareness that we are talking about is awareness of your own personality, your own being. What are the rough areas in yourself? What are the things that you do wrong or right in your life? Okay, to live with a high degree of self-awareness, important thing, and how to cultivate the self-awareness. Okay, to turn the focus on yourself, not on others. Okay. The second is to live with a sense of responsibility. What is responsibility? The ability to respond to a situation. Karma Yoga Buddhi in short. Okay, to live with that. Third, to have a sense of priorities in your life and live by your priorities, not merely by your desire. To live a purposeful life. When you are in touch with your priorities, you live a purposeful life. Fourth, learn to handle your emotions. Very important thing. Your emotional life. Nobody is responsible for your emotions but yourself. See, things will happen outside. Your emotional life is in your hands. That's why right in the beginning I did that ABC of thinking and everything. You know? Even in the Vedic Wisdom Festival, Swamini covered some of that. Yeah. How many pillars over by now? 5. Yes. Huh? No? Awareness, responsibility, purposeful, priorities, yes, purposeful, emotions. Yep. The whole thing deals with self-esteem. Okay? And, okay, to live a life of integrity, to live a life of values, etc. Integrity, honesty and integrity, because that integrates your whole being. And very important, okay, to have an altar of surrender. Very important. Otherwise, your self-esteem can become a pseudo self-esteem. It can become egoistic. Now, I am digressing a little bit from the Gita and all this, okay? But it is important. It can be in a broad category, the sense of surrender can be to Ishvara, ideal. It can be to the nation, Desha Bhakti, etc. Okay, can be anything. Okay, yeah. In India, it's very easy to have a sense of surrender. Huh? Yeah. And if you want to really look at this issue of self-esteem and have a very simple definition of it, okay, your confidence in your ability to face the challenges of life and be worthy of happiness. Simplest definition possible. Confidence to face the challenges of life, one part. Be worthy of happiness, second part. So this will bring in another pillar to live with assertiveness, to be assertive in your dealings with people. We had asked people to give a report on what it means to be assertive, and one of the students in my class wrote, the panel discussion was a classical example of how people could be assertive without being aggressive or abusive to anyone in the Vedic Wisdom Festival. Yeah. So back to the definition, if you look, it has got two parts. One is ability to face the challenges of life. This we will be calling as self-efficacy. How effective you are in life, self-efficacy. The second we will call it as self-respect. So to broaden self-efficacy, what will I take it as? Self, yourself. How effective you are. How effective you are in your life doesn't mean that you have to have a doctorate. Confidence in your ability to think, to learn, to choose, to make decisions in those areas of life that concern you. I will repeat, confidence in your ability to think, to learn, to choose, to make decisions in those areas of life that concern you. How effective you are. It's all here. Because we are living in a little civilized society, it doesn't matter whether you can lift 50 pounds with one hand or not. In a different society, that would have been important. If you are a soldier in Ladakh, that will be important. Not here for us. What is self-respect? I will not go for that wedding. Why? The girl's father didn't call me, her uncle called me. हमारा भी कोई self-respect है? That is not self-respect. That's your ego issues. Okay. Yeah, that's your ego issue. That's not self-respect. Yeah. Self-respect is a positive attitude towards yourself. The ability to express your thoughts, your feelings, your desires, your needs. Thoughts, feelings, desires, needs in an appropriate manner, and to work towards your joy and fulfillment. Your fulfillment is your birthright. That means moksha is your birthright, okay? If you can, so this is a lifelong development. Okay? Where is the limit of it? When you realize your limitless awareness, what greater self-esteem than that is there? Your limitless awareness. Whether you handle life or not doesn't matter. Joy and fulfillment is yours anyway. Yeah. Fulfillment is yours. You are Ananda Swarupa. और क्या चाहिए? So until then you can always have a little bit more or a little bit less of self-esteem. So a healthy self-esteem is what Krishna means by saying Uddhared Atmanatmanam. Na Atmanam Avasade. Don't look down upon yourself. Don't say he can get moksha, I can't. What do you mean you can't? What do you mean you can't? Is the Pramana, the Shastra there? Yes. Is a Guru available to teach? Yes. Are you available to learn? Yes. Knowledge should happen. Why should it not happen? Give me a student who is willing to do what it takes. I will make sure he can know the truth. That is the grace of the Lord on you. Ishvara's grace this is. When I say I am standing for the whole parampara here. Okay? Yeah. Why should it not be possible? Yeah. Are you willing to do what it takes? If you have a healthy self-esteem, you will be willing. Otherwise, you will say, Swamiji, not my. मेरे को कैसा हो सकता है? I want it, but I don't know. I can't do this, I can't do that, I am doing this wrong, I am doing that wrong, wah. 35 years of teaching in Bombay, I met all types, okay? I met all types. People come and say, Swamiji, I need your help. Do this, do this, do this. I say, okay, fine. See, these are the things that you should work on. Never do it. Next month they'll come and talk to me the same thing. Never do. What is the point? Do they care for themselves enough? Do they care for themselves as much as I care for them? I care enough so that I can make them see the truth. All the way I am ready. Do they care for themselves? Important to see this. It's important to see that only then your self-esteem will grow and you will be able to know the truth yourself. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. The teacher sees you as nothing but pure consciousness. If I did not see you as pure consciousness, I would not be able to teach. If I think, यार ये सब मूर्ख लोग बैठे हैं, क्या सिखाएगा इनको? How will I teach? How can I teach? I can't teach. Why? Because there is some intelligence here, you know. Why am I teaching idiots? I can't teach. I see potential wise people, that's why I can teach. Otherwise, I can't teach. Believe me. Unless I see it, I can't teach it. Yeah. That's why when some people ask me to come there and teach, I know. I won't go there. I'll say, no, I'm too busy. I can't come. Why? They want to adjust the class in such a manner that his happy hours are not affected. Yeah, I got a call from a couple of celebrities like that. But Swamiji, we'll have to adjust it like this, like this. I said, sorry, not interested. All celebrities, I would have got known this, that. Forget it. Not worth wasting your time. I said, be spiritual, literally. That will help you better. But somebody else asked me, are you not interested in being a big man? What can be bigger than limitless consciousness anyway? Usse aur kya? Yeah, it is true. Some name, some fame, etc. helps you reach out to more people and help more people. Beyond that, what is there? Nothing more than that. Yeah. So it's important to see that you also have a healthy self-esteem, that you can say, if he can teach, I can know. If he can do it, I can do it. I am not there yet, but in time. I told you my own story. As I said, my open self is very large. I went to my teacher and told him, Swamiji, if I get 10% of what you are now, I will consider my life fulfilled. He looked at me straight in the eye and said, Why 10%, 100%? I said, wow, does he really see me like that? I have not yet seen myself like that. So that is the thing. Uddhared atmana atmanam na atmanam avasade. Don't be too self-critical and put yourself down all the time. Atmeva atmanaha bandhu. You are your own friend. Atmeva ruparatmanaha. You are your own enemy. If you undercut yourself by your own self-criticism and your opinions, you can't do it, you can't get it, then you are being inimical to yourself. With a mind like that, you don't need an enemy outside. And Atmeva Atmanaha Bandhu. You are your own well-wisher. Develop your own self-esteem. Develop a healthy self-esteem. That's why the moment my website is up and running, keep checking it, VedicWisdom.in, and go and see all the points that are put there. And once you live like that, how can you not develop a high degree of efficacy as well as self-respect? Whether others respect you or not, is important you respect yourself. And behaving in a manner where you respect yourself and you respect others is called being assertive. An aggressive person respects himself, not others. A submissive person does not respect himself but respects other people. An assertive person respects the other person as well as myself. Both. So live assertively, live with integrity, handle your emotions, have an altar of surrender, live with responsibility, proactivity, etc., with self-awareness and action. Life rewards action after all. Karma phala, not without that. Live purposefully. When you do all this, in fact, live a life of Karma Yoga. Okay, live a life of Karma Yoga. With a few nuances to it. All that workshop is only dealing with some of the nuances. Basically, it's a life of Karma Yoga. Once you do that, then your self-esteem is high. The teacher is treating you with respect by teaching you all. Teach. Be ready to get it. Understand it. Okay. Clear up to now? Okay. Good. So good place to stop. Think it over. There any doubts or something? Come to me next time with all of that. Okay. So for now we'll call it a day. Have a great time. Enjoy yourself. Merry Christmas. Even if you don't, Merry Christmas. Even if you don't drink rum, at least have some rum cake, okay? Okay.